How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz, and in today's video, I'm going to be going over the best tips and tricks to help you guys make the most out of the Instrumental Wonders event in Pokemon Go. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so first of all, this event is going to be taking place from June 7th to June 11th at 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. local time. We're going to get the following bonuses: 1.5 times raid experience. The MP collection limit is going to be raised from 800 to 1600 every single day. We're also going to get 8 times MP from power spots for going from 120 to 820. And we're going to get a boosted shiny rate on the following Pokemon: Ferroseed and Phalanx from the Wild, Field Research, and Raid Battles. Now, we're also going to get a paid time to research available for $2. This will get you additional encounters with Ferroseed and Phalanx. You're going to get 5 premium raid passes and an additional bonus of 2 times raid Stardust during the event. Overall, this deal is definitely worth it. The raid passes alone are such a steal. Even if you don't want to use the raid passes during this event, you can definitely save them for Zacian and Zamazenta during Go Fest weekend at the end of the month. That's what I would strongly recommend doing. Now, we're also going to get the debut of Gigantamax Cinderace over this weekend on June 7th and June 8th from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. local time, basically the entire day. This is going to be the best fire-type attacker in max battles moving forward. I wouldn't say it's like drastically better than GMAX Charizard, but it definitely gives you an alternative option. But you're going to get the free MP anyways, and if you have a local community that's going to be pretty active, you may as well go out and do a few of these. We're going to cover the best counters for GMAX Cinderace later on in the video, but if you guys want to skip ahead to that right now, you can use the timestamps down below. Alright, next up, let's go over the featured Pokemon. From the wild encounters, you guys can expect to see Meowth, Hoppip, Ferroseed, Galarian Stunfisk, Golett, and Tadbulb. And then from the rare encounters, you'll have access to Chimecho, Beldum, and Phalanx. From the field research encounters, you guys can expect to see Meowth, Chimecho, Ferroseed, and Phalanx. And then from the lower tier raids, which is going to be 1-star and 3-star, in 1-star raids, you're going to get access to Meowth, Beldum, and Ferroseed, and then in 3-star raids, you're going to get access to Galarian Stunfisk and Phalanx. Now, from the legendary raid pool, we're going to get access to Groudon, a super good Pokemon worth focusing on. We'll spend some more time talking about this later. We're also going to have a raid hour featured on the first day of the event, so that's going to be June 11th from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. In the Mega Raid rotation, we're going to get access to Mega Abomasnow, and then finally in Max Battles, we're going to get access to Dynamax Machop, which was the only Pokemon mentioned on the official infographic. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to have other Pokemon featured, but I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens. Otherwise, that pretty much covers everything that's going to be featured during this event. Keep in mind that not everything I just mentioned is going to be worth paying attention to, but we'll spend some more time going over the best Pokemon you actually want to hunt later on in the video. For right now, though, let's go over the best counters you guys can use for GMAX Cinderace. Now, as far as your best attackers go, you want to ideally go with GMAX Kingler. That's going to be by far the best water type you can use against GMAX Cinderace. As far as the fast move goes, though, you want to go with Metal Claw or Mudshot. Mudshot is going to be a legacy fast move, so you will have to use an Elite TM. I don't entirely recommend this. I think Metal Claw is going to be fine for just the singular purpose of having to build up the energy for the Dynamax phase. You're probably not going to use it all that often because GMAX Kingler is only going to be brought out during that phase. Otherwise, you want to go with your tank options. Now, speaking of tank options, we also have access to GMAX Blastoise, which is going to function as both a tank as well as an attacker. Ideally, for the fast move, you want to go with Water Gun here. Now, if you don't have any of those GMAX water type options, the next best option is going to be GMAX Gengar with Shadow Claw. And this isn't going to do super effective damage against GMAX Cinderace, but it'll definitely do a decent amount of damage. Gigantamax Pokemon always do more damage compared to their regular Dynamax counterparts, so it is definitely worth using this as more of a neutral option as a GMAX if you don't have anything else. And if you don't have any of the GMAX options, that wouldn't surprise me either, just because there's so many players who are just getting into this for the first time, and in which case you would want to go with Inteleon or Excadrill. Inteleon with Water Gun or Excadrill with Mudshot. When it comes down to Inteleon and Excadrill, though, I do want to give you guys a fair warning. I would not invest too many resources into Inteleon just because we are going to get the GMAX form the following week in Pokemon Go. So, investing into this Pokemon right now, probably skip it if you can. If you can't and you have no other better counters out there, then yeah, I can understand why you want to build this. When it comes down to Excadrill, though, this Pokemon is one that is used quite frequently in max battles, so if you decide to build this one, you're going to get a lot more long-term value compared to the Inteleon. That pretty much covers the best attackers you guys can go with. Now let's talk about the best tanks. So by far the best tank overall in pretty much every single max battle format is going to be Blissey with Pound. This is a really accessible Pokemon that has been featured quite frequently in Pokemon Go over the last few months. We just recently had a Max Monday for Dynamax Chansey. If you guys did not take advantage of that, then, clearly you're not that serious about this, but hopefully you are taking advantage of the Dynamax Chansey max battles whenever you see them. Because even if you don't have good attackers, you can definitely build good tanks, and tanks are incredibly important in Dynamax raids, guys. I mean, being able to farm up to get enough energy and then also like re-heal yourself is incredibly important for the long-term sustainability of these Dynamax raids. Now, you can't tank forever, because if you tank forever, eventually the boss will get enraged and, you know, you're gonna get knocked out. But for a good 5 to 7 minutes of the entire max battle format, tanking is really, really important. So Blissey, top recommendation, by far. And given that we just have so many players who are unprepared for this stuff right now, I feel like people are gonna jump if they don't see a lobby of at least 30 trainers. So if you're gonna be remote raiding into these, I mean, at least 30 would be my recommendation, just because if you don't see that number of trainers, when you go to start that max battle, you're gonna find that a lot of people jumped. In which case, you would end up losing your remote raid pass if you can't get back into that raid. So yeah, it's a little problematic right now. The entire system is all over the place, but hopefully in the near future it will get better. I gotta imagine it's gonna be at least a few months though. We're gonna have the New Jersey Go Fest featured during this weekend as well. They're also going to have GMAX Cinderace. If you can get into their raid lobbies, I believe at the in-person events, they have bigger raid lobbies for some reason, which means it's way easier to take down. So if you have any friends who are going to be attending, or if you have anybody that you can just get remote raid invites from the in-person event, I would strongly encourage doing that over PokeGenie or like any other option. Now, a few helpful tips and tricks I do also want to recommend as well for these GMAX raids is that if you are having trouble catching them, if you have the adventure effect on White Kurim Iceburn, this is going to increase your catch rate by 1.5 times and slow down the target ring. So combined together with Golden Raspberries, excellent throws, you're going to have the best chance of catching these. Rillaboom was breaking out quite frequently, but it wasn't terrible. At least it wasn't as bad as GMAX Snorlax. I think GMAX Machamp was a bit easier, so I don't know how the catch rates really work on each of these GMAX Pokemon, but for Cinderace, you might want to consider it. Now, additionally, for anybody who is going to be doing at least 2 to 3 of these within like a 30-minute time period, it would also be a great idea to drop a star piece. The base amount that you get from these GMAX raids is going to be 25,000 Stardust. With a star piece, it's going to take you to 37.5 thousand Stardust. And for the pay-to-win players out there, you can also double this by spending 200 Pokecoins on the reward screen to make it 75,000 Stardust. So yeah, you can get a lot of Stardust from just doing these, especially if you're like a pay-to-win player, or a spend-to-win player, I should say. It's really, really good. But even for like the free-to-play players out there like myself, you can still get a lot of really good Stardust. Otherwise, that pretty much covers the best tips and tricks I could recommend for GMAX Cinderace. Really, it's not that complicated when it comes down to it. I think the biggest challenge for most players is just actually getting these done successfully. So again, I think the best recommendation here is that if you don't see 30 trainers in that lobby, just jump. It's probably not going to work out super well because a lot of players just happen to jump when it's a lower lobby size, and then you don't want to get stuck losing your remote raid pass. So yeah, that's actually my top recommendation for most players out there. Otherwise, guys, let's talk about the best Pokemon you want to focus on during this event. So first of all, we're going to have Meowth, which is going to award you with boosted Stardust every single catch. I believe it's going to be 500 Stardust, so do not sleep on catching these Pokemon. They're pretty easy to catch, don't have to use raspberries or anything like that. Take advantage of the extra Stardust gains. We're also going to have Hoppip, which evolves into Jumpluff, ranked in the top 100 for the Open Great League. When it comes down to the regular Jumpluff, you also don't need to have Acrobatics, which is going to be a Legacy Charge move. This is recommended for the Shadow, but not for the regular. Next up, we're going to have Ferroseed, which is going to be Shiny boosted during this event. Ferroseed, when evolved into Ferrothorn, is also going to be relevant in the Open Great League as well as in the Open Ultra League. It ranks in the top 150 for the Open Ultra League, so it's a little bit better there. In the Open Great League, it used to be much better, but, you know, in recent meta changes, it hasn't been as good. So maybe not build it for the Open Great League, but if you happen to get a good IV spread, I might hold on to that. We're going to have Galarian Stunfisk, which is going to benefit from a Perma Shiny boost, so that's going to be 1 out of 64, not specifically tied to this event, just in general, so if you want to go for these Pokemon, definitely click on them at the very least. In terms of meta relevance, this is also going to rank in the top 150 for the Open Great League and the top 150 for the Open Ultra League. Next up, we're going to have Golett, which evolves into Golurk, relevant in the top 100 for the Open Great League and the top 100 for the Open Ultra League. It went down a little bit after the recent meta changes, but not drastically, so still a Pokemon worth paying attention to. Now, the next Pokemon is going to be one that you really want to pay attention to, and that's going to be Tadbulb, which evolves into Bellibolt. Thanks to the Parabolic Charge move update for the recent changes in GBL, this climbed in the ranks recently. So this Pokemon is going to rank in the top 50 for the Open Great League, and it's going to be the #1 Pokemon worth building for the Open Ultra League. I was curious when it was going to get a move update because Bellibolt I think is pretty good to use in the main series games. I was a bit surprised it wasn't as good in Pokemon GO GBL, but again, things change all the time, so now it is really good. Alright, next up we're going to have Chimecho featured once again during this event, and this Pokemon is going to award 1,000 Stardust per catch. So make sure you're catching every single Chimecho. Also, I think they increased the catch rate because during the Serene Retreat event, it was so much easier to catch these than it normally is. The next Pokemon is going to be Beldum, which evolves into Metagross. Ideally, you do want to have Meteor Match, which is going to be a Legacy Charge move, so maybe not evolve it during this event, but definitely farm Beldum for the candy. I mean, once you evolve it into Metagross, it's ranked in the top 20 for the Open Master League. It's one of the best Steel-type attackers in the game. It's also really relevant as a Dynamax attacker and a tank, and it also has a future Mega Evolution. So by far, one of the best Pokemon to focus on during this event is gonna be Beldum. Whether you have it or not, whether you already have some built, you can never have enough Beldum candy. And trust me, I say that as a 9-year Pokemon Go player. Beldum candy is always appreciated. We're gonna have Phalanx, which is gonna be shiny boosted during this event, but not particularly useful for anything in game, PvP, or for raid battles, so really just click on it if you want to get that shiny. Next up, we're going to have Groudon available in legendary raid battles. Now keep in mind, this is not going to be primal Groudon, so you're not going to get primal energy for this when you complete these raid battles. You're also not going to get access to its signature moveset, Precipice Blades. So really when it comes down to this, do these for the candy, do these for the chance at a potential hundo or a shiny, but raiding really hard for this right now, I wouldn't recommend it. The best time to raid hard for Groudon is when we have the Legacy moveset available and the Primal. So in my opinion, this isn't the best time to be raiding for Groudon, but it's still not a bad time to raid for it. Groudon by itself is such a great Pokemon to build in Pokemon Go. It's ranked in the top 10 for the Open Master League. It's a super good ground type attacker. It also has a Shadow that you might want to get candy for, and it's really useful to use in rock battles. So yeah, I mean, all things considered, doing your free passes at the very least for Groudon, strongly recommended. Next up, we're going to have Mega Abomasnow. This does rank somewhat well in the Open Ultra League. It's going to be in the top 200 if you want to build one for that. You can also use the Hundo here too, which I think is kind of cool. But overall, Mega Abomasnow is mainly just going to be used for candy farming bonuses. It takes on the dual typing of Grass and Ice, which is excellent when it comes down to certain events. Not particularly useful during this event, but something you do want to work on getting to Mega Level 3 over time. So I would do maybe 1 to 2 of these, get the initial energy, and then spend the rest of your free passes on Groudon during this event. And finally, we're going to have Gigantamax Cinderace once again, which I'm not going to cover this one in detail, but again, it's going to be the best fire-type attacker in max battles moving forward, so even though the shiny isn't available during this event, I do recommend doing at least your free MP battles over the weekend. Also, if you're going to be doing your GMAX raids in person over the weekend, I would recommend taking advantage of the seasonal bonus, which is going to be 2 special trades per day. Whether you have lucky friends or not, it's a good idea to mirror trade any extra shiny or legendary Pokemon, because you never know, it could end up going lucky and you could end up getting the hundo. It's happened to me a few times, so trust me, you definitely want to be doing them if you can. Now finally, let's go over the best Mega Evolution you want to have active during this event for additional candy bonuses. So by far the best Mega is going to be Mega Lucario. This covers Dynamax Machop, it covers Phalanx, it covers Ferroseed, Galarian Stunfisk, Beldum. You get 5 different Pokemon there, 4 technically from the wild encounters. The second best option is going to be any other Steel-type Mega, so Mega Scizor or Mega Aggron, covers Ferroseed, Galarian Stunfisk, and Beldum. Whichever one of these you guys have at Mega Level 3, prioritize that one over the others for increased candy and extra large candy. Otherwise, just go with your highest level Mega for the typing that you actually want to hunt. And with that being said, that pretty much covers everything you need to know to make the most out of this event. Best of luck out there, and if you guys need help managing your Pokemon storage before Pokemon Go Fest, then check out this video next.